Hi guys, this is another session of Red Pollutants where we talk about sustainability in menstruation. We have been doing this session for a few episodes now, and today we were supposed to have another guest, but for some reason she was not able to participate in the session, so the show must go on. So we have Momo with us.
Hi guys! I know I don't look like the person who was supposed to be here on the other side of the grass, but for some reason, we don't know what the reason is, she's unable to be there. We did not ask, and we thought, why not have an interactive session just between us, because this is a time slot, this is the time for sustainable menstruation and that has to continue. So yeah, today we thought we were going to have a fun discussion between a man who is frustrated with his co-workers yelling and blabbering about menstrual cups day in and day out. So we thought maybe he can put forward the questions that circulates in his head, and I can give answers to those questions as honestly and as personally as possible, because every cup user or cloth pad user or biodegradable pad user or even a sanitary pad user has a different experience. So to each his own. So yeah.
So first of all, let me ask you from a very basic question. How long have you been using menstrual cups?
I don't know. I've lost count. It's been quite a number of years. I don't exactly recall when, but it's precisely when I started, vigorously started trekking. I remember that point essentially because you've been there. We've known each other for a decade now. Basically because before, trekking was for fun and for exploring and for knowing cultures, but then that became a part of my life and livelihood, and that's when I realized that something more sustainable is necessary. But I'll be very honest, not just because of environment, because using a pad was difficult in terms of traveling. It was very difficult in terms of traveling. So made it a point that I need something that will help me travel long distances, and I don't really have to stop buses and cars in between, and along with that delay everyone just because I'm going through periods. So that's when I started using a menstrual cup. The reason why it feels like ages and eons is essentially because it is so comfortable that your brain does not want to recollect the times you might have used a sanitary pad, a one-time use sanitary pad.
This is basically a theme I have come across with all the women that I have spoken with who have been using menstrual cups starting from the first session of Red Pollutants. They have been saying that it is so damn comfortable that you completely forget that you're using one. But tell me, how did this switch happen? How did you get the idea of using menstrual cups and switching from a sanitary pad?
I got to know from people who are very mindful about it. They were like, what are you using? You travel a lot, what are you using? This and that. And then I heard about the cup. But yes, a lot of it was also because of personal research. Whenever you come across a product, I have seen people spend days before buying a cell phone and a laptop. Here I'm talking about something that I want to insert inside my body. So before that, the only thing that goes inside the body is another man's organ. So now it is going to be something which is foreign. I did not have an idea about it, so it was not scary. For me, it has never been scary. For me, it was just exciting. I was just excited and thrilled to know, such a tiny thing, I'm going to insert it in the vagina, and then more than that, I was excited I don't have to use a pad. You, as a man, you can only have an estimation of how gooey it might feel. You have a layer of plastic, and inside that you have cotton, and continuously something liquid is pouring onto it. You're a student of biology, so you know how the process goes on. So you can kind of imagine that your skin, as such a sensitive part of your body, is continuously all slimy and ooey and it's slithering. It's not a very nice feeling. Okay, it is something which is mandated for a woman's body, and that is completely fine. But the feeling of using a pad, now a pad is not a mandated thing for a woman. Periods is. So it's not very comfortable. So the thought of not using a pad anymore was very exciting for me. So a lot of research, and then I came across this company called, and back then the company called Boond was really top notch out there, because it was one of the few Indian companies that produced and sold menstrual cups. So yeah, I immediately placed an order and I got my cup. It was a teal color one. You have a variety of options. It was so nice, pink, yellow, red, and then white, and then it had this beautiful sea green teal color. So that's when I opted for this. So yes, I always tell people that don't go by the words of someone else. It can always be an influencing factor. It can be something that ignites a thought in your head that yes, maybe I can try something new, but before trying it, go do your own research. There are another number of videos available, so many papers written. I've read a lot of academic papers as well to see what are the pros and cons, and I couldn't understand a lot of scientific terms because there are certain materials being used and not being used, but I further had to dig into that and see whether it is something that I really want to use, essentially because I knew if I start using something good, I am going to propagate it. And I need to have a basic knowledge, not just in terms of experience, but also in terms of giving answers when women or men or kids end up asking, what is this? Why is this? Why is this better? Why is this not, why is this not out in the advertisement agency and stuff like that? So a lot of personal research, and that's how the switch happened. Magical.
Was there any apprehension before you made the switch, or you decided to make the switch? Was there any sort of apprehension?
Nada, zilch, nothing, not even 1 second of a second thought. The moment I realized that this is a good product, I did not care about whether it is going to hurt or not, whether there's going to be leakage or not. Why? Because personally, it's a personal point of view. Let me be very clear. I've been a sexually active woman before using a cup. So the thought of having a foreign XYZ inside my vagina is not, or was not back then, a scary factor. I was completely okay with it. Second of all, the fear that what if it hurts? So if it hurts, I'll not use it anymore. Na? हो गया तो दर्द होता है तो नहीं करेंगे और use. Next, what if it leaks? Pads leak all the time. I've been a user of both, right? Not tampons. I've not used tampons. Never liked the idea. Pads leak all the time. So if that is okay, why wouldn't I try something else? Next, is it a wastage of money? I have wasted money for far worse things. I've wasted money. I've wasted money on alcohol when I was into a lot of drinking. I have wasted money in nth number of intoxication when I was in that phase. I've wasted money for buying clothes, which probably now when I recollect I did not need. So back then spending $599 just for trying something new, which is A, good for my body, B, I knew the effects of pads being in the landfill. I just thought there wasn't any option. So when I have the option, why not? And this is a very personal stand that I took. So no, I did not have any sort of second thought.
So on hindsight now, do you think it's still a wastage, or was this an investment?
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Because the audiences, they might want to ask, or they might be wondering about that.
In 10 years, this has been one of the best material things that I've obtained. The best. One cannot really express the feeling. I feel so sad that you cannot use a cup. I'm so sad because
that I don't have any.
I know so many men. They're so pro environment. I wish I could make them feel. It is so amazing to use a cup, and yeah, it has been one of the best investments. It lasts for 12 years, and that's a lot of money that I've saved. Second of all, like I said, being a traveler, I don't have to carry pads, and that is a huge thing because it's not just the weight. Pads consume a lot of space, and when you're carrying a 60-liter backpack and you're trekking up and down, it becomes very difficult to have anything but what is necessary. And if you are a pad user, the sanitary pad is a necessity, so you have to carry it. I don't. Mine is like this tiny little baby of mine that just gets inside the pocket, and maintenance is so low All you have to do is boil before your period starts and then boil after your period starts. Now they're like, I've faced certain situations where I had to stay in a homestay. So the people out there, not that they told me that they don't want me to boil my cup in their utensil, is just understandable. So I just carry a small steel cup along with me, a tiny steel cup along with me, and it still consumes a lot lesser space than carrying 2 or 3 packets of that. And you know, when I am off for trek, I'm off for months. I'm off for months and I'm off grid. I'm in places where you don't get electricity, leave aside buying sanitary napkins. So this has been a trekking buddy for me, and trekking for me is not just about traveling, it's gathering knowledge. So it has been my buddy for knowledge, and there is nothing more I rever in my life than that.
I was about to get to that part, because you have been traveling, you have been an active trekker, probably even before you made the switch. So you have a first-hand experience on how that has affected the way that you work, how would you rate in comparison? Because I already understand that you would have this you would say what you're going to say, but still it should come from your mouth. How would you compare the experience before and after in terms of your trekking, your work, staying in completely remote areas where there is no electricity, no infrastructure, whatever. Most of the time living in camps and sometimes in minus temperatures. So what has been the experience in that field? How would you say it has improved? How much it has improved rather?
In my head, no offense to the discipline, it's almost like asking me what is the difference between your love and just your love for mathematics and sociology. There is no comparison because I am very poor in mathematics, but it is a necessity, and sociology is my love. So it is the same like this. Back then, it's not that I'm degrading mathematics to sanitary pads, not at all. It's just an analogy. I want to be very clear about that. So yeah, personally speaking, trekking, you wearing a sanitary pad. Now imagine rainforests. Just imagine.
Yeah.
I come from Meghalaya, highest rainfall. It rains all the time. Imagine trekking into those places and it is raining and you're on your periods and you're wearing a sanitary pad. You cannot. You have to halt. You have to. There is no other option. Yeah, of course you can wear your rain jacket or anything like that, but it's difficult. Or even when there is snow, it's difficult. You want to go for a swim? Difficult. You want to trek up and down for 8 hours and do it wearing a sanitary pad? Ask the female trekkers who have not made the switch as yet for their own personal reasons, whatever that might be. They'll tell you it is very, very tough. It's an external object that's outside your body. The moment you switch to a cup, because it's inside, doesn't matter. You get wet, you swim, you cycle. You have traveled with me. You know how vigorously we travel on top of buses, on top of vehicles, in roads that are not even roads. Just somehow pavements being chopped off. At times a vehicle goes like this, but there might be fear of death, but I don't have the fear of periods. Now, periods has not stopped me from traveling, and I guess apart from the passion for work that I have, a lot of that goes to menstrual cup. Because I don't think I've ever stated that I really can't go for trekking today or I cannot go for work because I'm on my periods and the journey is really, really high. It could be for someone that the pain is a lot. That's different. But you cannot travel because you're on a periods and because the time frame is big and long duration and you might have to change and there is an issue in changing pads. That has not occurred, and that's huge in life of a female. That's huge.
Okay. But these are mostly on your personal experiences and your personal perspectives. But apart from that, apart from your personal comfort levels and everything, you are also a person who's actively involved in environmental protection and doing everything for sustainability of the environment. Where do you think the idea of using the cups fit inside that agenda?
I'm bad in mathematics. Let me give you the guys and you a small calculation to do. One woman in a lifespan, as I have calculated, uses around approximately, every woman is different, 10,000 sanitary pads. Now, what are pads made of?
Cotton, it has plastic,
Up
and it
and
has
down.
some sort of gel inside. So
Let's just talk in terms of very plain, simple raw material, plastic. The top layer, plastic. That's why it doesn't leak. That's why it's leak proof. They say, right? Well, not really leak proof, but they say it is. What is the sanitary pad wrapped in? Plastic. Now, that is one woman using 20,000 plastic sheet in her life, and that 20,000 sheet that I'm talking about, there are three things that happens. Either it gets burnt in very remote areas or dumped, either, or in the cities we think that we have sorted the problem because we send it to the bin, and from the bin it goes to the landfill. Can you imagine? We are half the section of the population of the world, hopefully, and every woman more or less has periods, and that is for a considerable 35 years of her life span. 35 years of a lifespan, 20,000 sheet of plastic being used, and that is being sent to the landfill, dumped or burnt. You do the calculation of the impact that it has on the environment. Cautiously or incautiously, thinking that we have an option or thinking that we don't want to take an option, we are one of the biggest polluters. We just are, and that's a fact we have to admit. We just are. Now, this is not a sort of an insult that, oh my God, I'm a woman, so you're telling me that having periods is a curse to the environment? Oh no, hell no, it's not. But using a sanitary pad is just like using an AC, is just like even electricity has its repercussion in the environment. Now, but we have to think that there are things we can avoid in the civilization and the things we cannot. From here, if I have to go to Nepal for my work, I cannot walk. I can, but I'll not be able to do that, considering the feasibility. But from here to Nepal, when I go and I get my periods, maybe I can avoid sending, for that spectrum of time, sending sanitary pads to the landfill or burning it. You switch to a menstrual cup. It's made out of silicone, so there's no way it's going to get destroyed unless you play a tug of war with it. So for 10 to 12 years, you're using one product. Can you imagine the amount of plastic you're cutting down on? One woman can make difference of not even 20, let me cut it down to half. 10,000 plastic being burned in her single lifestyle. If that is not massive impact, I don't know what is. So that is the reason sustainable menstruation is one of the primary things that I go for whenever I travel, whether it's in the rural areas or the urban areas. The response that I get from either of the places is different, but something that I keep talking about. Not that because I'm saying you have to try it, at least look for it. Let's not keep Google and YouTube and Facebook just for socializing and social networking. There are lots of information available. Let's at least look for it. Research. After that, you don't like it, I understand. After using once, you find it pathetic, I understand. I get it.
Everyone would have the different preferences, I guess, so probably
I remember the first
suggest.
time I smelled cold drinks. I did not like it and I never had it ever in my life. What was that? But I did take the glass and I did sniff. I did. I believe you have the same thing for pumpkins. You tasted it once, you don't like pumpkins, you don't have it. But it's not something like, I don't like pumpkins because I don't like the thought of it. Try it, you never know. It will change your life, it changed mine.
Over here, I would actually like to add this because I had this session previously with one researcher. She's involved in cancer research, and from her insight, she was able to tell that a chemical in plastic, which is called bisphenol A, is basically a carcinogenic. Okay, it is an endocrine disruptor, basically, which means that it blocks the activity of hormones. Now if that can be related with the plastic which is there in the sanitary pads, and then it goes to that sensitive part of the body, and then at that area it is inhibiting the function of hormones and basically putting a carcinogenic substance or cancer inducing substance product, that cannot seem like a very safe option. But then also, the use of the cups is still way less compared to pads. The advertisements and all the channels, they only talk about sanitary pads, like the long duration and scented and blah blah blah. I'm not sure about all the details, but you would be able to better to tell about it. But why do you think that is? Because why do people still use the sanitary pads more than the cups?
For the same reason why bamboo brushes are not available everywhere, for the same reason why steel straws are not available everywhere, for the same reason why cloth bags, it took a long time for us to get back to the usage of cloth bags. It's advertisement, it's economy. I'm spending, as a consumer, I'm spending around 200 rupees per month for a sanitary pad. Now, suddenly XYZ comes up and tells me that, hey, you just have to spend 700 INR for 12 years of your life. You think, being a businessman, you're going to allow something like that to happen? Imagine the loss for the companies, big companies that sell sanitary products. They're big names. For the same reason why Lay's or Uncle Chips or Coca-Cola won't easily go for biodegradable plastic or packaging.
Because of cost.
Cost. Economy.
But basically then what is happening is, by purchasing the large numbers of pads, it is only for the benefit of the businesses and not the users. I mean, is that the case? Because it definitely sounds like that.
For me, definitely it sounds the same. I mean, the reason why I can say this is because you'll hear this from our grandparents. If you had that sort of a relationship with them, I had a very open relationship with them. They never used pads. They used cloth pads. Today, when we talk about cloth pads, we think it's a very backward thing. It's again coming back into the foreplay. I'm happy that it is. People think that, गाँव के लोग use करते हैं, अनपढ़ लोग use करते हैं. These are the taglines we have. But you think that women back then were unhealthy? No, they weren't. My grandmother wasn't. They were unhealthy in many other terms, but not in menstrual cycle. Not because of not that because of using cloth pads their health deteriorated. It's just with the coming of advertisement, just like with the coming of mica in makeup, made us feel that we look more beautiful. With the coming of a one-time use pad, something that you don't have to wash and sun dry it properly, that's a necessity for a cloth pad. You have to sun dry it properly because the bacteria or germs needs to get killed. So for the same reason, it's ease. You hit the one thing that you need to hit your customers with. If I would be a businesswoman, I would hit on their ease. And back then, you hit on their ease by saying, hey, it's a one-time use thing. Remember how the one-time use pens, once they came into advertisement, one-time use pen, people went crazy about it. No more buying refills. But can you imagine how much of extra plastic we started consuming because we were using one-time use pen? It's the same thing with one-time use people who smoke, or not just smokers, even non-smokers use lighters. One-time use lighters. One-time use plastic, polythene bags. Anything, disposables, cutleries, anything one-time use, we think that it gives us an ease of living. So we make the switch. And we just forget that after using, where it goes. That's never been our concern. And I hope that slowly it is coming into the forefront and people are talking about it. I'm happy that they are. But for me, why sanitary pad got, one-time use sanitary pad got so much of prevalence is because A, women thought it is easier to use than cloth pad, and B, women thought that it was healthier. So it's a personal stance they took. So I urge them to take yet another personal stance, do your research and go for something even better.
But then again, the concern for health or the impact of health is actually not dependent on the personal stance, is it? I mean, if I don't feel that a particular substance, let's say, which produces cancer, if I feel that that is not carcinogenic, it is not like it will not give me cancer. It will still give me cancer regardless of whether I believe it or not.
Well, it is just like saying, Everyone knows that plastic causes pollution, yet they still throw it outside. It's not like just them, one person throwing it outside. That's the mentality, right? I'll just quietly just throw this wrapper out here. Not that it's going to cause, hit me with cancer. Well, the effects will be there. We have started consuming plastic almost as the size of a debit card. It's there in our system. That's what microplastic is doing to us. It's just a thought process that whatever does not affect us in short term, directly bang, and I hope it doesn't. I genuinely hope that no one gets affected by it, but we all will. Nature is merciless that way because nature is a chemical, physical, biological reaction. It's a phenomenon. It does not care about the morality because that's a human-made concept. The whole moral behind something is a human-made concept. So our concern of comfort and right and wrong is limited to our world, but unfortunately our actions and repercussion of that is not limited to our world anymore. Look at us. We have led to extinction of species. Look at us. We have led to acres and acres of land being chopped off because we had to build houses because a family of 4 needed 4 damn rooms. They couldn't live in 2 rooms anymore. And yet again, this very species also creates slums where in one small room 20 people are forced to stay. That is our right and wrong. Nature doesn't understand that. It will affect them anyway. It will. I hope they realize it fast enough. Not just in terms of menstrual cup, in terms of anything at all.
You are a sociologist.
A scholar of it, yes.
And do you think that this pattern of consumption is a social construct?
Of course, the whole concept of consumption is a social construct. Survival is not. Survival is a biological construct. I need food to survive is a biological need. But I need to consume nth number of chips and chocolates and alcohol and cigarettes and excessive rice or excessive oil. Might I take this daring position to say that there is nothing there's no disparity. If smoking causes cancer, excessive oil gives you cholesterol. Both of it is harmful for health. So if you want to give us the tagline, I think in both, it should be there in both. Or sugar.
Yeah.
All of these, that is a social construct. Tea, drinking tea from tea leaves is a social construct. It was a luxurious product. It was just meant for the elite group. I understand the whole antagonism, and then even common man can drink tea. I get that. But from a natural point of view, tea gardens, acres and acres of land and deforestation, it's called cash crop for a reason. In the same manner, to buy pads, and now let me bring this into focus. We had normal pads. Then we got all night long pads. Now we have all day long pads. So basically they are asking me to put plastic touching my vagina for 12 to 13 hours. And I am feeding on that. Most of the cosmetic products that we use have microplastics in them. And I think a basic a layman with bare education, I don't even believe in education, with bare knowledge, knows that it is not very good for skin. Why do we buy it? Advertisement. What is advertisement? Advertisement is a social construct. Just like I already have a car, but there's a new car in the market. Of course, for car builders it's good. But do we ever realize where the old car goes? In many places, car landfills are a huge, huge thing. So yes, it is food wastage. All of this is a social construct. Man or woman, we are not. It's sad. When I say this, it is so sad. I feel melancholic. We are not a part of the animal world anymore. We have forced ourselves to go out of it. And I say this all the time, that the biggest mistake that we have made is become too much of human and too less of animal. They are not wild. They are civilized and decent, and they are natural. We are wild. The way people connote it, wild. We are wild. Why? Because we go beyond the phenomena of nature. And how is living in the wild being called as wild? I don't get it. That is supposed to be civilized and natural. Living outside the nature, destroying nature in any number of ways possible. Now that is wild.
The way we're living, basically.
Exactly. Do we kill a man? We are in the prison. We chop a tree. Does that not have life? Hundreds and hundreds of years old. Is that not destruction of history? But then, like I said, we have our own rights and wrongs. Nature has its own, and it's always supreme. It has to be supreme. Something we need to bow down and respect very soon. We've crossed the point of no return. If we don't think about it now, we're not going to think about it later. And even if we do, it won't make a difference.
How do you think this behavior or this particular pattern can change? Because if we consider that it has health benefits, it is environmentally friendly, I mean, I'm talking about the cups, it is healthier, it is environmentally friendly, it saves money, it is more comfortable, as you said. If all these advantages are stacked up in the favor of cups and against pads, and still there are more users of pads than cups, how do you think that ratio would change, or would that change ever?
I believe it would. If today female feticide is not a thing anymore, if today child marriage is not a thing anymore, if today women are standing up for equity from equality, then I believe that women will stand up for their own health, and there will be a change, and they will start using better products. Tomorrow, something even better than a cup might come up. That's the beauty of science, isn't it? There's a beauty of invention, technology. I'm not saying it's all bad. It's the beauty. It gives comfort. It's easy. It's good. Take the boon of it. Everything has right and wrong. Everything is good and bad. But that's the beauty of it. It is not optimal. It is not the pedestal of that is it. Once we thought sanitary pads, that is it. Then came tampons, that is it. Then came, actually menstrual cup came in the 1960s. People didn't know about it. It got suppressed in the 80s, again started using it. And now, see, you will find the trend. You have heard more women in the past 10 years. You have heard more women use the menstrual cup, talk about the cup. I know amazing women, men, all these youngsters talking about menstrual cup. The change is coming. It just needs to go on. Now, my urge is, if you're using a cup, if you're happy about it, talk about it. Talk about it, be vocal about it, talk to other women. It's a matter of sisterhood, and for men it is a matter about humanhood, because the effect of that going to the landfill or being burnt or being dumped is coming upon you as well. Now pollution doesn't say, oh my, you're a man and you didn't use a pad, so I'm not going to hurt you. It will. My friend, it will hurt you. You have mother, you have a wife, you have sisters, you have close friends. Do you not want them to use a better product? Do you not want them a healthier product? So that's where men need to talk about it. I mean, it's needless to say, I'm a woman, I would want women to feel better in terms of nature, in terms of economy, in terms of health. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I talk about it? What is the point of knowledge if you keep it just with yourself and not spread it? That becomes information.
Sharing information, basically. Sharing experiences. Which basically brings me to the next thing, that you have been an advocate of menstrual cups for many years now. How many people have you convinced to switch?
I've touched 3 digits. I've touched 3 digits. I did not keep a tab. But that's the thing about these products, you know. You talk to one woman and she goes and talks to 5 other. Now I don't know whether I should say 1 or 6 in that case.
True.
So that way it's very difficult to keep a tab.
Basically, it's a chain reaction.
It's pay it forward, man. It's pay it forward. I do something good for you. I don't want something in return. It's not a transaction. I want you to do it ahead.
I mean, even if it's just one person, that still is
20,000.
Exactly, that's 20,000 pads not going into the landfill.
And my success lies out there. So yes, I've touched 3 digits. I've worked in the remotest of the remote place. I've worked in places where there are no toilets, there are no electricity, where women do not know how to read or write, but my, are they knowledgeable? Are they knowledgeable? These are the women, these are working women. May not have a uniform, may not wear a good coat, may not go to an office, or like me, may not get a stipend or a salary, but my, they work in the fields all day, all night. They have knowledge about the world, they know their own ancient history. And these are the women who come up and tell me, and I am talking about women who are 45, 46, they're almost going to have their menopause in a while. They are using it. I have women who are what, 14, 15? Supriya was what, 15? When she was using it, she convinced 4 or 5 of her friends. And she comes from a very tiny school in Ramon.
Nepal, that would be?
No, that is in Indo-Nepal border, not exactly Nepal,
okay.
The border. So yes, I have come across women as such. I've come across my own friends who have made a switch. They are from their city dwellers. In the city, it's a little difficult. Women get apprehensive. Knowledge makes you question. It's good. It's good to question. Why should someone listen to me?
But then you should also look at the logic. same time.
Try to get the answer as well. It shouldn't be a classroom where a child stands up and say that, ma'am, why are you asking me to do this? You shouldn't end up and say that because I said so. Because I have the reasons, and if today I don't have the reason, I will study. Tomorrow I'll come down to you and I'll tell you that, my dear, this is the reason. If there is a question, there needs to be an answer. Otherwise, it's a question mark forever.
You also said that the impact of pollution is, included the pollution created from sanitary pads, is not biased towards gender. It is universal in that way, and probably you would say that is the reason why even guys should be involved or engaged in this conversation, because I am sure like a lot of the viewers might be thinking that why is there a guy talking about menstruation or menstrual products?
By now they'll not question you.
I know, but maybe there might be still few people who might be asking because guys don't use the product. So
no uterus, no comments.
Exactly. So that might be the case, and which makes this subject such a sensitive one. First, there's a taboo around it. People don't want to talk about it. I have seen when I was purchasing pads for someone in family, and they'd be wrapping it in paper so that it is not visible. And same thing goes for condoms. They don't give it as it is, the package. So there is some sort of uncomfort or an taboo around it that someone is buying or someone is selling it, even though that is business. Okay, and that should be like any other business. In my head, that's the logic, but then I don't understand the taboo around it. But then the taboo is there. That is there. We can't do anything. We probably can break the taboo slowly. And do you think engaging in this conversation more and more, as Red Pollutants is doing, is a good way as of now to achieve that breaking of taboo?
Like I said, men may not be allowed to comment on, you're nagging, you're having your periods, what is the big deal? You don't know what is the big deal, so shut up. You don't know what is the big deal. You don't know the tenacity or the tolerance to pain. I might just cut you this much and it hurts a lot. Someone else might take a chemotherapy. My father did. My father would take a chemo and then after 3 hours he would go down to his office and work. That was his tenacity. Someone else may not be able to do it. So don't try to rationalize pain. That's where men don't get to comment. You don't get to comment on these, but using a sanitary pad is a consumer behavior. It's not a biological behavior, mind you. And whenever there is a consumer behavior, it's a holistic behavior of man, of woman, of any sort of sexual preference or orientation anyone might want to have. Like I said, pollution does not see gender. It sees action of this one species, and that is us. So if we are so good at being holistic in causing pollution, we need to be good enough to be holistic in trying to mitigate that problem as well. That's where men need to talk about it. Like I said, the comment is not on the process of menstrual cycle. The comment is on the more you talk about it, the more maybe you will understand better. The more maybe you will stop passing comments on why is the woman nagging and why holiday is needed or why a work break day is needed, because you will understand it better. And B, of course you have the right to stand up and say that, hey, why don't you use a better product? I came across it. Because when you are burning or dumping it, it is causing a reaction to me and my family also has women, by the way. Now, I'm not saying that stop using it, you're doing a crime, no. But maybe try to look for any other option. Do you not think pregnant women stand up and do the same thing when men are smoking in and around them? What right do they have? If men do not have the right to stand up and say that, sweetheart, can we just use a better product? Just at least try to use a better product. If that right they do not have, do you not think that even a pregnant woman does not have the right to stand up and say, don't smoke? It's my baby, my body. Why should I ask someone else to stop? No, because that action of smoking is causing harm to me and my baby. In the same manner, women using sanitary pads for whatever good or bad reasons they have, and not even thinking to switch. I keep on stressing out here. It's not a mandated act. It is an act to learn about it. To just learn about it. Man very well has the right to talk about it. Why not?
Thank you so much for the insights, because I believe there might be a lot of people who are at the verge or the periphery of making the choice, but then these apprehensions, these thoughts are there, and probably if we can somehow extend that support and break the taboo and make them more confident about talking about these subjects, men and women alike, I guess it might be a better way to break that social behavior or the framework of mind and reach towards a more sustainable approach. Before we end the session, one other thing is there something that you would like to share with our viewers, or to those people who are willing to make the switch but are not sure about it? What would you tell them?
I'm not an epitome of a guarantee that you will start using a menstrual cup and life will change and you will definitely like it. But I urge that at least try to learn about it. This is a small little thing that I believe we can do for nature. At least try to learn. We spend a lot of time, we spend a lot of time doing so many things that probably is not an utmost necessity. I think it is time we do a little, just teeny tiny little bit for that which gives us all. And do it for your own health, because it is good for your health. Do it in terms of economy, because you're going to save a lot of money. And for a selfish person like me, do it in terms of environment, because, and I always say this, stop treating this planet like you're an alien. We need to stop treating this planet like we're an alien. We don't have anywhere else to go, fellows. The moon is still not prepared for us, the Mars is still not prepared for us, and oh, blimey, I hope they are not. Because if we have done this to Earth, I don't believe we have the right to be anywhere else, because we're going to do this if our behavior doesn't change, and change comes from personal steps. Switch to better products, be more sustainable, because if we cannot do this here, we'll just be wild and be somewhere else.
Well, thank you so much once again.
No, thank you. Thank you for letting me speak, because it's a very sensitive thing. It's a thing very close to me. I'm pragmatic about it. I crack a lot of jokes. And women, one little advice, or men, when you talk to people about menstrual cup, please don't get all serious. It's anyway a very serious topic, so have fun. That's how I generally start. क्या आपको पता है कि आपके शरीर में 3 छेद है? एक जो पीछे है टट्टी करने के लिए, एक जो आगे है सुसु करने के लिए, और एक बीच में जिससे हमारा पीरियड्स का खून निकलता है. And then I have women saying, 3 छेद है? I'm like, हाँ जी, 3 छेद है. So just try to be light-hearted about it. It's already a serious matter. Let's not make it very serious. Humor is important for life.
Of course.
हंसना जरूरी है, जीना जरूरी है. We've come to the point of survival. We need to learn how to live again. For that, we need to get back to our roots.
All right, then that brings us to the conclusion of this session, today's session. We would be having more sessions following up every week. So just stay tuned. Tomorrow we have another session, by the way, on Green Animate. 6 p.m. Again, we are trying to have the sessions every week so that we share whatever we learned and try to increase awareness and reach out to more people. If you think that what we are doing is helpful and it is having a positive impact on anybody, or has the potential of having a positive impact, please do share, like and subscribe. Not just press buttons, but also try to implement them in your life. Try to share that with people that you know and love. And knowledge is basically something that grows when we share.
Yeah.
Right? So let's
It's
grow our
been
knowledge.
fun. It's been fun, 1 hour, and we keep bringing new people from different diaspora to you. And I hope, women, you'll be a part of the Cup Gang. And men, you're going to be part of Be the Cup Gang.
The advocates.
Thank you so much for the time, people.
Thank you,
And
everybody.
for everyone who joined in, thank you so much for that. Keep liking, keep supporting, and keep giving us more inspiration. If you know someone that you think we should bring on the platform, please let us know. It's always an honor to have new faces.
Great.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Take
Lots
care.
of love. Thank you.
Bye-bye.